Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Oscar Rush. Trevor here, joined by Thomas as always, and we got the Cannes International Film Festival Day 8 here. We got Asteroid City first reviews, and also some interesting distribution news. Netflix and Neon wheeling dealing, picking up a couple of things. Could be interesting for the awards race. Let's get into it. All right, here are our first reviews for Asteroid City. Thomas, thoughts?
I mean, they're decent. They are decent. I don't think they're quite where a lot of people were wanting them to be. I don't think they're quite where they need to be. But having said that, they're solid for what they are. This is an in-competition film. It's slightly one of the lower in-competition films, which is interesting. I mean, a lot of the films in competition have been just quite high, quite very well regarded. I'm seeing a lot of people really liking it, but I'm also seeing a lot of people just think it's kind of serviceable Wes Anderson, kind of just him doing a Wes Anderson type thing and not doing much new stuff, which is interesting for a director like Wes Anderson. Does have me a little worried about how much I'll personally enjoy the film, but people are liking it as a whole, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, you look at here like David Ehrlich, Ella Kemp. I mean, you got Matt Naglia. Like everybody seems to be really positive. I think Matt Naglia even said like it was one of his best in his review. A lot of people saying he's doing a lot more like character work with this one than in some of his previous films, which I find quite interesting. And he's actually tapping into deeper stuff. But there are quite a few detractors. I know the Oscar expert for one was not that big of a fan and thought it was one of his weakest. So it feels kind of divisive and polarizing, which just seems like the more Wes Anderson makes movies, the more divisive and polarizing they get. So yeah, I know it's really, really interesting, especially from an awards perspective. We'll see what Focus does with it because they do have the holdovers. They got this, and we'll see where they decide to go, because they're typically a staple within the awards race. So I'm curious.
Yeah, and now I guess sort of just depends on how well the holdovers receive. I mean, we assume it's going on a festival run. I mean, nothing confirmed as of yet, but I presume that's a type of film that would premiere at TIFF. And if it is this sort of crowd pleasing thing, does very well there, I could see Asteroid City being a bit, knocked down the priority list, especially since it's going to be released, in summer. It might not be on everyone's mind by the time awards come around. I mean, it's being given the same sort of treatment as the French Dispatch, so I guess there are parallels
being released even. So
yeah, that was even later, or even August, September time when that got released. So, but yes, like July, hopefully it sort of makes its money. Hopefully it gets a decent box office track. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know if it will be the most long lasting thing in terms of awards buzz. However, still interesting. I mean, only a few weeks before you get to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Wes Anderson fan. I'm quite excited about this. I mean, it just, seems like even more and more Wes Anderson doing Wes Anderson things, which I'm here for. I'm personally a fan of his style. I know it's not for everybody, but I quite enjoy it. So I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And yeah, I mean, listen, a 3.5 isn't incredible, but it's serviceable. And I'm curious to see if it goes up or down. I mean, I think it will trend up. Like its highest score right now is 4 by quite a large margin. So
I mean, we spoke about this before. I could also see it going down a little bit, just as because a place like Cannes, you're going to get a lot of people who are fans of Wes Anderson, fans of sort of more art style. So potentially, when it gets more mainstream, it could go down a little, especially since if it is just sort of more Wes Anderson stuff, I don't know. It could go down, it could go up, it could go either way. This one, it really could.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take a look at the Metacritic. So we have a 76. It's not great. It started out at an 83, which was towards the higher end of Wes's filmography. It's now dropped to 76, which is towards the lower end of his filmography. Or towards the middle, I should say.
Yeah.
This isn't a great score. It's good, but not like incredible.
Yeah, it's about where you'd expect given the sort of letterbox average rating. And yeah, it has sort of been ping-pong up and down a bit. I guess people don't, as more of these come in, it does, exactly. It seems like a divisive film that people are loving, people less so much. So I don't know. This is definitely going to be an interesting case. I don't know about Wolf's chances really though.
Yeah, I mean, and you see these like hundreds coming in, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. People are loving it. People really are.
Right, like it is connecting with a lot of people, but then you have stuff down like the 40 range. So like I know, I mean, it seems fun. Like I'm hearing like like 1950s B movie, like delightful, just Wes Anderson leaning into all this stuff. Delving into like Cold War paranoia, it seems, American family values. I've heard it's also one of his weirdest films.
I'm sure.
So just him going just fully crazy, fully off the deep end, which I'm here for. I really, really, truly am. Okay, so May December, the Todd Haynes film. It's heading to Netflix for 11 million. They just picked up the distribution rights. And yeah, apparently there's an all-night auction that led to this, and this is pretty big. So it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting because we talked about how if it went to Searchlight or Focus, it would be their top contender probably. It would feel good. Netflix does already have Maestro, the new Bradley Cooper,
Yeah.
which means that this is probably the number two.
Yes, I mean Netflix is an interesting one. I didn't expect it to go to Netflix. 11 million is a good sign. I mean, it's a lot of money for a film like this. The overnight auction does suggest a lot of people were potentially in the market for it. Maybe Focus were, maybe Searchlight were. I do think they might have been better places for it to end up. Yeah, I mean Netflix. I don't know if it's necessarily the best place for it. I mean they do have a bit of a track record of sort of just picking stuff up, putting it on their platform, dumping it, and then just forgetting about it. I really hope that doesn't happen. I mean, it could be Netflix's number two. We know they've been doing things with Maestro. First, their screenings for that film weren't good. Second time, they were getting better, so they might just keep trying to play around with that. Hope to make
Yeah.
that their Oscar contender. Obviously, last year they were in a bit of a sticky situation. They really had to rely on All Quiet on the Western Front to sort of save them.
Yeah.
But there is potential. There is potential here for this film. I don't
I
think
mean,
it's a massive detractor. And yeah, it could be Netflix number two, which would be a great position. Netflix are known for getting multiple things in, especially things like
right.
acting,
Like
which
they
this one
only
we
got
got.
one thing in last year, but like they've consistently gotten two in for a bit. I mean, and like you can make the Lost Daughter comparison, which got, two actors in screenplay, but that was just number 4 that year behind
Yeah.
Tick Tick Boom, Don't Look Up, and The Power of the Dog. So like I still like it, I don't feel as good about it if it was something like Searchlight or something like Focus. I still don't think we're in panic mode for this movie.
No, definitely not. And even if it does get a Lost Daughter package, that would still be great for it. I mean, that would be you're
Yeah.
looking at Julian Moore, Natalie
I
Portman
mean
in
that's basically what
screenplay.
Carol got, right?
Yeah,
Like actor
exactly. Yeah,
screenplay,
which
like
should
yeah.
be great for it. Which would be great for it. I could also see, interestingly,
Absolutely.
I could also see this being a lone screenplay for the thing. I think
Yeah.
that fits.
But regardless, it's not time to hit that panic button yet.
No.
Not time yet. All right, let's talk about Neon making some deals. So they picked up Anatomy of a Fall. This was a really big title that premiered a couple of days ago from Justine Triet. Sarah Hüller getting just like raves for performance. And Neon, listen, they are known for winning the Palm, especially with how strong this has been showing. We'll see where it's at the CANNES standings in a couple minutes, but like it's looking really, really strong. I mean, it's probably the second thing just behind Zone of Interest in competition. Neon's won the last 3 Palms. Like this is something to look out for.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it seems like Neon were wanting to win the Palm again. But then Zone of Interest obviously happened and was that. So I guess they've gone, you know what, we'll take the second best thing at the festival. And that's what it seems like they've done. I think this places it in really good standing for an international feature potentially at the later down the line in terms of
Yeah.
awards. Neon, one of the bigger sort of producers of these sort of smaller foreign language type things. Yeah, I definitely think this places it in very good standing. And this is the exact kind of company you need for a film like this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and as this is, I mean, Sandra Hüller just again getting raves. We could potentially see her winning the Cannes Best Actress prize. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened here. And yeah, I mean, it's being described as a Hitchcockian courtroom drama. Like, I don't know. I'm quite excited for this one. I think that this is a massive play for Neon, and I think we have a Neon versus A24 battle for the Palm
I think we do.
with this versus Zone of Interest. I think these are pretty clearly our top 2 options.
Yeah, I mean, La Chimera, which Neon picked up obviously before the festival, that's still to release. So there's potentially Neon have another top contender in terms of the Palme d'Or. But yeah,
Yeah,
this is definitely a good move. This is a very good.
absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, very excited about this one. Not too much to say. We've already talked about this film at length, but yeah, big international feature player. I think big international feature player. All right. So speaking of the Cannes standings, let's talk about them. Let's take a look at our top 10. Not too many changes. Zone of Interest, Killers of the Flower Moon still dominated. Zone of Interest, it dropped a point from a 99 to a 98.
Yeah, I know. I know. What a
What a
shame. What a
failure.
shame. Yeah.
Anatomy of Fall still dropped a couple of points from a 91 to an 88, but still going pretty strong. Monster, Better Grasses, May, December, Fallen Leaves, all still there. Asteroid City with its 76 Metacritic, 3.5 Letterboxd, it was barely able to squeak in.
Yeah,
So
and I mean, if you things like Nature of Love, Forward, or they don't have a Metacritic, or even Fallen Leaves, I guess. So
yeah,
potentially, when we see Metacritics of those, this might have been booted off. But as it stands, it's pretty solid. It's in there. There's a chance it drops out by the end, but it's also looking fairly likely that it might just sort of stay. Could end up 10th, potentially of this festival.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we'll see how the Metacritic and Letterboxd trend. I mean, I could see this ending up like in the 15 to 20 range. I don't know. Like it won't be breaching the top 5 or anything. I think it
No.
only goes down from here, but it's here for now. It's here for now. And then yeah, Nature of Love for our daughters still hanging around. We did lose Pictures of Ghosts off the list, but really not much changing here. Honestly, it's just Asteroid City sliding up. And yeah, as we say, like I think if you're looking at your palm contenders, I think it's pretty clear who they are. Zone of
Yeah.
Interest and Anatomy of a Fall, with Monster and About Digrasses looking just behind.
Yeah, no, probably. Also, it is interesting you pointed out that most of these are in competition. You're only looking at
Yeah,
Killer of the Flower Moon, Nature of Love, so it suggests a lot of the top films of the festival are in competition, which I think is great. That's what you'd want out of it. So yeah, that is interesting. But seems like it's going to be a pretty stacked competition this year.
absolutely, absolutely, and should be very, very fun. Very excited to see where the awards end up going. So looking ahead tomorrow, there really isn't that much. We'll see if there's any kind of breakout things, but nothing of notes really that we were anticipating highly going in. But then on Thursday, we got the new Vim Vendors, Perfect Days. Very, very curious to see what
Yeah,
that's like. Then Friday, La Chimera and the Old Oak. And then Saturday, closing us out, we got Elemental. We're almost done. 4
we're
more
almost
days.
there.
Not much interesting things tomorrow, but then very curious about those final 3 days and what they look like. And then we got the awards, so should be a lot of fun. Make sure you stick around for all of that. But until then, you can follow us on Twitter and Letterboxd and all the things in the description. There's links there, all the things. But until next time, stay safe, everybody. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.